You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rudrance for Black and White Sports 2. Let's talk about the Carolina Panthers. Yesterday I uploaded a video where we talked about not only the Panthers coaching situation. Of course, it's now Frank Reich. I love the hire. I was vocal about the fact I didn't think he should have gotten fired in Indianapolis. And I think his record in the NFL reflects that. And, of course, Brian Flores. Brian Flores interviewed with the Cardinals. And it looks like Steve Wilks may end up suing the Panthers for not giving him this job. Brian Flores, if the Cardinals don't hire him, may end up adding him to that racial lawsuit. I mean, completely out of control with this. Truly out of control. Well, enter somebody who's always out of control, always trying to get the headline, Skip Bayless. Now, I've got to be honest with you, there was a time I really liked Skip. Sometimes I still like Skip's takes, okay? And sometimes they're hideously bad, like this one. Now, in case you did not know this, I went back to listen to when the whole firing of Matt Rule happened and Steve Wilks taking over David Tepper. Just to let you know, in case you didn't know, Steve Wilks did not finish as the runner-up for this job. Kellen Moore did, okay? And you might be like, well, how is that possible? Frank Reich, Kellen Moore? David Tepper wanted an offensive-minded head coach, okay? And what David Tepper actually said was if Steve Wilks did an extraordinary job, which a lot of people construed the job he did was extraordinary. I don't, personally. 9-3, not 6-6, would have been extraordinary. But he said if he does an extraordinary job, he will get consideration for the head coaching job. He never said he would get it at all. Okay, so enter Skip Bayless, who has come out and said that the players, the Carolina Panthers players, should boycott over the fact that Steve Wilks did not get this job. I find that unbelievable. What if you're an offensive player on this team and you got Frank Reich coming in, or you're one of the quarterbacks on this team and you got Frank Reich coming in? You're supposed to boycott for playing for Frank Reich? Nah, I wouldn't do that. Not only that, this team isn't deep enough to do that anyway. You're liable to lose your job permanently. Skip Bayless believes the Panthers players should not play after interim head coach Steve Wilks wasn't offered the full-time position. The controversial and annoying Bayless made the comments earlier today on his Undisputed show on FS1. Okay, so he just come out and says Skip Bayless called for a boycott in playing because of Steve Wilks not being hired. Wouldn't you like to see some sort of protest here where you stand up as a football team? Well, look, one could ask the question, look at Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield left Steve Wilks and the Panthers, and in case anybody didn't notice, he got to the Rams and looked like a competent starting quarterback all of a sudden. Now, I understand that's kind of the same offense that he ran in Cleveland, where Baker had some success. But the point is, maybe you see the benefit right there of there being an offensive-minded head coach. Okay, and David Tepper's number one issue is quarterback. At what point do the players stand up and say no? Skip then insinuated that the players should do a, quote, boycott situation. Wouldn't you like to see some sort of protest where you stand up as an organization and say this is not acceptable to us? Look, we're not even talking about some guy that doesn't know how to coach. Frank Reich is highly respected around the league. I just don't see any player pissing in the face of Frank Reich. I truly do not. The sports talk show host responded to the Panthers not moving forward with interim head coach Steve Wilks, who went 6-6 with the team after replacing coach Matt Rule. Although some players gave their approval to Wilks throughout the season, Panthers ownership never publicly did. Throughout the year, they continued to say they were evaluating the situation. Panthers decided to go a different route and hired Frank Reich. The move was particular to some, including Bayless, after Reich was fired by the Colts earlier this year after a disappointing 3-5-1. The Wigdor law firm, which represents Wilks, released a statement after Reich's hiring. They alleged that this goes beyond just coaching record and that the NFL has, quote, a legitimate race issue. The Wigdor law is also representing Wilks in a class action lawsuit against the Arizona Cardinals. Wilks claimed that he was, quote, unfairly and discriminatingly fired after one season. It's unclear if Wilks will pursue legal action against the Panthers. Well, one thing that was clear, Steve Wilks was a disaster with the Cardinals. Okay, in much the same way that Nathaniel Hackett was a disaster in Broncos land. Okay, I will continue to say, and I've said this on the channel, some guys are made to be coordinators. It just is what it is, you know. Wilks tweeted out his own statement after Reich's hiring, saying he was disappointed but not defeated. And look, Steve Wilks did issue a very nice statement towards Frank Reich. I thought he praised God here. It was my honor for me to coach those men in the Carolina Panthers locker room as interim coach. Players, coaches, and staff, thank you for your hard work and dedication. I took pride in representing Charlotte, a great city that I love so much. Thank you to my family, friends, and the community for overwhelming support. I do wish Frank Reich all the best. I will always be a fan of the Carolina Panthers football team. Keep pounding. So, and it's pretty obvious, you know, Steve Wilks has got some religious beliefs here. I wish he wasn't doing or involved with this lawsuit. It just doesn't make any sense. You can be sure in the coming days there will be more to the story. Yeah, we just expect a lawsuit to be filed against the Panthers. You will hear people echoing Wigdor's law's belief that this has something to do with racism, and others saying the Panthers were free to do as they please. But I'm not sure how many people are going to agree with Bayless's take that if players don't do something, that they should forfeit all their pay and not play, while Skip can do what he wants from the comfort of the millions he makes on TV. Especially since there are other reports that other Panther players, including team captains, told the Panthers front office they understood why Reich was hired in the first place. I'm sure a group of 10 to 15 players, captains, and other leaders made it known to the Panthers brass they understood the Frank Reich hiring and were excited despite the public support for Steve Wilks. Reich is well respected. Of course he is. He's very well respected around football. Reich was a quarterback, and he's got ties to the Carolina Panthers organization. His daughter works there. He's got a home in that area. And he was the very first starting quarterback for the Panthers. And look, he had a good record with Indy. All right? Jim Irsay forced him to bench Matt Ryan at 3-5-1. It wasn't like this team was 1-7, okay, or some disastrous record. A tie and 3 wins, 5 losses, okay. And I don't think Frank Reich wanted to bench Matt Ryan, and I don't blame him. But Jim Irsay was trying to pad the field to get his boy Jeff Saturday in there. And I don't, like I've said before, I don't give a rip who these owners hire. They're billionaires. They own the team. They should be able to hire any damn coach they want, regardless. I don't care if the coaching hire is awful. It's their team. They own it. Plain and simple. I mean, it's a terrible take. You got guys that this is their livelihood. Okay. They're not going to give up or boycott an NFL spot in an NFL game because Steve Wilks didn't get hired. It's ludicrous from Skip Bayless. That is one of his worst takes he's ever had. And what surprises me is the lack of respect he's got for Frank Reich. So Frank Reich deserves to lose his players and fail because the ownership chose to give him the job? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Tell me what you think, Black and White Sports 2 supporters. I think Carolina could be competitive next year. I do. I don't know if they're going to keep Matt Corral. I don't know if he's the quarterback of the future. I don't know if they're going to... Frank Reich might actually do something with Sam Darnold, if you want to know the truth. In fact, let's think about this. Look throughout the history of Sam Darnold. This is an offensive-minded coach and a guy that's considered one of the few quarterback gurus in the league. Sam Darnold might be kind of interesting next year. I still believe they'll go out and get a quarterback. Would not shock me if Jimmy Garoppolo or Derek Carr end up in Carolina. If it was me, probably Jimmy. He's just got a better pedigree of actually winning ball games. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.